If you're donating to charities, maybe to the church, what's your year-end giving strategy? I've got 3 creative ideas, that and more, coming up. My name is Mike Bernard. I'm the host of the Wise Money Show. I'm also one of the certified financial planners right here at Korhorn Financial Group. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and smash that thumbs up button. If you're giving to the church or maybe to other 501c3s or nonprofits that causes you care about, what's your overall giving strategy? And here I'm recording this at the end of the year, so of course it's top of mind. And like me, you've probably gotten a lot of emails or mail with, hey, we appreciate your support. Consider giving a little bit more before the end of the year. And as someone that has volunteered a lot of time for nonprofits, I know this year-end giving is so meaningful, plus your ongoing support. And you're not doing it for the tax benefits, but being a good steward or being aware of what tax benefits you could get just for doing what you were going to do anyway, or supporting the causes that you care about, that's just prudent financial management and wise financial habits. So what are 3 different creative giving strategies that maybe you need to consider right now? Well, the first, especially as we approach the end of the year, if you have resources, maybe it's been a good year from an investment standpoint for you or for your income, and you've got the resources, and yet you're not sure which causes you want to donate to. Maybe it's to the church, but you look and say, well, I've got more resources right now than I really would want to give to the church. I mean, I could stretch this out over a couple years. Or maybe, again, you've received some emails or a phone call even where some businesses or some organizations, are reaching out saying, hey, we'd love your support. And you're just not sure. You've got the resources, but you're not sure which causes you want to support. Consider opening something called a donor advised fund. A donor advised fund. Think of this like an investment account that's just earmarked for nonprofits, for charities, for 501c3s. And the unique part about this is when you make a donation, a contribution into the donor advised fund, that's when it's recognized as a completed gift for the IRS and for your taxes. So if you just we're going to donate 15 grand to the church, through your ongoing monthly donations or whatnot, but that wasn't enough for you to itemize because itemized deductions are 29,000 standard deductions 29,000, and between those donations and your interest and state taxes, you were going to get close, but you weren't going to get there. Maybe consider a donor advised fund. And if you've got the resources, instead of donating the 10 grand to the church, maybe you throw 30 grand in your donor advised fund. And now that $30,000 lands on your Schedule A, your itemized deduction. That on top of your state and local deductions, your mortgage interest, now you definitely will get a tax benefit for that. You'll definitely itemize, and all of a sudden you take what you were going to do anyway and spread out over a couple of years, and it wasn't going to give you a tax benefit. You donate to your donor advised fund now, and it gives you a tax benefit this year. And then you can distribute the money from your donor advised fund when you feel like it. And it doesn't need to be immediately. It can be in a year, it can be in 2 years, it can be to one cause and then allocate a little bit to a different cause. You've got a lot of flexibility, but control over in what year you get the tax benefit. Second creative strategy for giving really only applies to those of you in a certain age group. You've got to be age 70 and a half or older to do one of our favorite strategies, and this is a qualified charitable distribution. Qualified charitable distribution. We've talked about it a lot and we'll continue to do so because I've shared, it's a very underutilized giving strategy. And yes, even though the original age, 70 and a half, aligns with the original required minimum distribution age, which has since changed to 72, 73, and will be 75, it's hard-coded in. The qualified charitable distribution is hard-coded in at 70 and a half. So you can still, at age 70 and a half, do a qualified charitable distribution even though you're not subject to RMDs just yet. But with a qualified charitable distribution, this is where you can transfer money directly from your IRA. It's got to be IRA. It can't be a 401k. It can't be a 403b. It's got to be IRA directly to the end charity. Not to you and then to the charity, directly to the charity. And when that happens, that money is not taxable to you. So instead of saying, well, give it to me and it'll be taxable, and then I'll give it to the charity and I'll see if I can deduct it, there's no need to deduct it because it's not even taxable to you to begin with. And you might say, and sometimes as we explain this to folks, they say, no, wait a second, I want a deduction on the $5,000 that I send from my IRA to the church. Well, no, you got the deduction a long time ago because all the money in your IRA, it's pre-tax. You've never paid tax on that money. And so the point here is it's just not taxable to you when it comes out because it's going directly to the charity. So qualified charitable distribution, got to be age 70 and a half or above. And now, like, that's a great time of year to do some year-end giving, if that's you, via some qualified charitable distributions, or set yourself up for next year to do ongoing gifts to the church or whatever through qualified charitable distributions. And then a final idea for a giving strategy this time of year is giving appreciated stock. Giving appreciated stock. I just mentioned the qualified charitable distribution is giving some of your IRA, But what if you have some investments outside of IRAs, outside of tax shelters? Maybe because you just saved up in a separate account throughout your career, or maybe you had some additional resources, or maybe you received an inheritance. And maybe, especially with how the market's done recently, maybe your cost basis or what you contributed to that account is this, and the value is this. And you know, well, whenever I sell that, I'm going to have to pay gain, a capital gain on the growth. So say in that example, you've got, again, $10,000 that you were going to donate to the church, but you also have $10,000 of stock of an investment, of a mutual fund that you originally contributed $6,000 and it's worth 10. Well, instead of donating the $10,000 of cash, donate the $10,000 of investment. Don't sell the investment and give it. Just give the shares. And you might say the charity doesn't want the stock. They're not going to invest this money. I know. You'll give them the shares worth $10,000 that you paid $6,000 for. They will then sell them and get the $10,000. However, they're not going to have to pay a capital gain. And it's not because you gifted it to them, because that when you gift, you're gifting your cost basis too. No. It's because they're a nonprofit. So yeah, there would be a gain, but they don't have to pay tax on the gain because they're a nonprofit. And then you say, well, now I've got $10,000 of cash and I have $10,000 less in my investments. I know. Use that $10,000 then to repurchase that investment. And now, out there in the future, whenever you sell that investment, instead of having to pay tax between the $6,000 and whatever it's worth, the $6,000 you invest in, whatever it's worth, you'll now have to pay tax on the $10,000 compared to whatever it's worth, right? So you just bought up your cost basis. So donating highly appreciated stock. So those are 3 creative tax planning strategies you may want to employ either before the end of the year right now or in working with your certified financial planner as part of a bigger or broader giving strategy. So work with your CFP on that. If you don't have a CFP on your team, you can contact one on my team. Find us online, Korhorn.com. That's Korhorn with K, wisemoneyshow.com. You can find us there as well, or give us a call, 574-247-5898. All right, there you have it. Go out and take your next wise step in your financial life.